We rounded up the addition laws last time, and weren't they easy? You have been adding numbers since primary school, but it's good to revise the basics, making sure the rules are still fresh in our minds. And since you are such a law-abiding student, we want to show you the multiplication laws too. They are not very different from the addition ones, like the closure law, which says the sum of two real numbers is also a real number. This applies to their product as well. We just switch the plus sign with the product symbol. Any example? Of course, multiplying real numbers 9 and 6 gives you 54, which is also real. And generally, for all real numbers A and B, their product will always be an element of set R. Next, you had the commutative law of addition, which said that the order of the sum didn't matter. Similarly, it doesn't matter with the products as well. So, if you multiply 9 by 6 or 6 by 9, you'll get the same answer. In general, for all real numbers A and B, the order of multiplication doesn't change the answer. Even if you have more than two numbers as told by the associative law. We saw this in the case of addition. The same applies to multiplication. Let's see this with an example. You can multiply 3 with the product of 2 and 4, or get the product of 4 and 3 first, then multiply it by 2. Basically, whichever groups you make, your answer would be the same real number. Now, what about the multiplicative identity? Our purpose with identities is to get the same number back. For addition, we realized we could do this with 0. But multiplying with a 0 wouldn't work. We would just get 0. How about 1? Using 3 as an example, we calculate its product with 1 and to no surprise, we get 3 again. So, this works, which is great because 1 also belongs to set R. Hence, we call it the multiplicative identity. Finally, we have the inverses. In case of addition, the inverse of a real number was merely its negative counterpart. The multiplicative inverse, however, is its reciprocal. Hence, their product is always just 1. This works for all real numbers except 0. And that's obvious, right? We know that 1 upon 0 is undefined. But for all other real numbers, there exists its inverse. Don't worry about the raised minus 1. That's just another way to write the inverse. Anyway, the product of the number and its multiplicative inverse will always be 1. And once again, whichever order you choose, fact don't change. And there you have it. Now you have seen both sets of laws, addition and multiplication. If we combine them into one big law, then it's called the Distributive Law of Multiplication over Addition. Wow, that seems a lot, but no worries. First, let's see what it means with an example. Suppose we have 3 real numbers arranged this way. How do you solve this? According to the distributive law, you can multiply the sum of 3 and 4 with 2, or multiply 3 and 4 individually with 2, and then simply add up their products. In both cases, the law determines the final answer to be the same. This works with any group of real numbers. The number outside the bracket will multiply with both the numbers around the plus sign. And this works even if it is after the bracket. We just switched up the order. And that's all. Now, thanks to these laws, the world of mathematics makes more sense, doesn't it? We'll continue this in the next few lessons.